Hey, what's up everybody? Kirkpatrick here, gonna give you a quick lesson on some drum beats. So yeah, like I said in my last video, I didn't want to go too far off in talking about rhythm. I felt like we were getting a little bit off track with showing you how to use Guitar Pro in general. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into some drum beats. Go ahead and make a percussion track. And alright, like I showed you guys in that first video, this is the fundamental basic beat right here. It's used in just about every classic rock song, tons of pop songs. I mean, this beat right here, there's lots of different ways to play it, and a lot of different ways you can kind of make it a little bit more interesting, if you will, but it's a really, really good basis for understanding what's going on in your measure, especially if you're not in 4/4. Anyways, so yeah, this is basically, you've got your 1, your 2, 3, and 4. And those are going to be your main, that's your pulse right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the basic beat, we've just got that bass drum lined up on 1 and 3, and that snare in 2 and 4. Some variations of this would be to move that bass drum around. Maybe put it on the end of 1 and the end of 2. Already you're getting, some kind of different variation of the beat, and you can play around a lot with this to get a lot of different kinds of grooves. What I want to talk about mainly with drum beats is how you vary them, how you put them in the right context, and get the sound that you're looking for. So as you can see here, I can make tons of different beats just putting these bass drums on different eighth notes and get all different kinds of variations just by moving the bass drum. Having the snare on 2 and 4 is a very, very important feel if you're going for a mid-range obviously it's going to depend on your tempo overall, but having that snare on 2 and 4 is a really good way to just drive the beat. That's why it's used so much in classic rock and pop. It's just that kind of, people are really familiar with it. We really, really just love hearing that snare on 2 and 4. And obviously there's a lot of other variations you can do by making these guys 16th notes. And all I'm doing here, by the way, to add in extra bass drums and whatnot is hitting command and then plus, and it'll let you insert a beat like that. So yeah, if I make those guys 16th notes, we get just another variation of that of rhythm. But again, very important keeping that snare in 2 and 4. Now watch as I manipulate this drum beat to give it a completely different feel just by moving the snare to beat 3 instead of 2 and 4. You can tell that the second beat feels a lot more, it feels quote-unquote slower, but remember our tempo's staying the same, so nothing is really going faster or slower. It's just the way that we're dividing the measure and where we're placing the snare that our ear is so used to hearing. When it's on the 3, it's almost like we're waiting for that snare to come, so by the time it comes on 3, it's got this way more slowed down kind of feel. This is used a lot of times, for more chorus-esque things. A lot of time you'll see this moved over to the ride. You'll get more of that kind of feel. It's a little bit more open. A lot of times people will refer to this as a closed beat versus this as an open beat. And again, the only things that differ a closed to an open beat is the snare being on 2 and 4 versus the snare being on 3. There's a lot of different variations you can go from here as well by moving the snare. For example, if you want more of an up-tempo feel, then we might put the snare on all the ands. Conversely, we'll go ahead and put the bass drum on 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all of a sudden we're going to get it's not way faster, but compared to, it definitely brings the feel up a little bit more, and you can, move that around even more to get even crazier with it. And obviously, it's going to depend on whether you're doing 8th notes, 16th notes, or anything like that. For any of you guys out there that are interested in some electronic music, this might be a beat that you've heard very often. And you'll notice what I'm doing right now, control-wise, is I'll put down some beats or some notes. I'll hold Shift and go on the left key arrow to highlight all of that. Then I'll do Command C and Command V and go ahead and get it copy and paste. That right there is a very, very generic kind of dance beat, if you will. It's got a strong upbeat. It's also used a little bit in reggae. Typically not so, usually not 2 and 4. Reggae is going to be a little bit more 3 oriented or open feel, if you will. Obviously, it depends. Most genres will have close and open. You know, I can't think of a genre off the top of my head that only does 2 and 4, only does 3 for snare. It's all about what feel you're going for and what kind of environment you're trying to create. But yeah, a lot of times also in dance music, you'll see the bass drum on all 4 as well, just to really give that doosh doosh kind of sound, if you will. It depends on what your bass drum is, but yeah, again, if you're walking in that route, this might be something of interest. So let's see. That's a pretty decent overview, just as far as like really, really, really basic drum beats go. We're just talking about moving the snare drum and the bass drum around just a little bit. What I want to talk about next a little bit is where we're at least as far as a little bit more of the metal world. A metal basic beat's going to look a little bit more something like, we'll use more of an open hi-hat feel here, assuming that both feet are on the pedals. We may as well leave the hi-hat open. Oops. Go ahead and copy and paste that. So this would be the basic beat again, except the only difference is now we've got the bass drums running on all the 16th notes. Again, you'll notice the 2 and 4 feeling is very similar to that, and conversely, if we put this guy on 3, you'll notice immediately how much of a different feel you get. Again, you can, I don't know about you guys, but I can like just hear choruses in my mind when I hear that kind of open beat. It's just got that much more of a bigger feel, if you will. But yeah, so again, that's pretty much what it is for basic beats as far as metal, as far as basic double bass goes. Another thing that drummers like to do, or more in the metal world nowadays, is blast beats, which in this program, really easy to do. Just go ahead and, again, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that deal. And all that's going on here is we've got the ride going on, 51, and our snares offsetting that every 16th note. So what that's going to create is a much faster feel. It's almost more of a punk-esque beat, if you will. And again, it's got kind of a strong upbeat, do-dut, do-dut, do-dut. But it all just depends, again, on the context of what you're going for. The really cool thing about drum beats is that a quote-unquote punk-esque beat versus a metal beat versus a pop beat versus an electronic beat can all be utilized in different genres. It's really all about the presentation and what's going on with the rest of the music at that point in time. So don't hesitate to try, or don't feel like, oh, this is a punk beat, I can't ever use it in metal or pop or, whatever genre it is that you're trying to go for. All of these beats are cross-genre, I promise. Same with fills as well when we get into that. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the basic beats for now. I'm probably going to get a little bit into the looks on fills and beats in other songs. I'm going to start going through some other tabs and kind of give you guys a better idea of kind of what I'm talking about when I say closed and open and how I'm relating this to the chorus or verse or any other part of a song. So yeah, stay tuned.